Thank you for downloading episode 160 of We Got This with Mark and Hal. Very quickly, if you want to help us out, leave us a 5-star rating and a review on Apple Podcasts. That not only helps new people find the show and describes to those people what they should be looking for and why they're going to enjoy it, but the more reviews we get, the closer we get to unlocking merch. So if you want We Got This t-shirts, buttons, coins, whatever.
Those great bandanas.
Those bandanas, if you want them, the only way you're going to get them is by leaving those reviews. But for now, please enjoy episode 160 of We Got This with Mark and Hal.
Hello, I'm Hal Lublin.
And I'm Mark Gagliardi.
Since the dawn of humanity, one issue has gone unsettled. With the fate of the world in the balance, we're here to settle, once and for all, best tool.
That's right. Don't worry, everyone. We got this.
Podcast should have a theme song. Podcast should not have a theme song. Yes, they should. No, they shouldn't. They sound good. Yeah, but people are just going to skip past it. You know what? You're right. We got this.
So this is part 2 of our we're not going to do any research.
Yeah.
Double header.
And surprise. I have no idea what this topic is.
Yeah. For those who missed last week's episode, I mentioned at the top that we wanted to take a break from, laying out a lot of facts and dates and details and things.
Yeah.
And really just get to the core of us being blowhards.
That's right. That's what it's all about.
Yeah. So in the spirit of that, Hal gave me a surprise topic, last week, and I'm going to give him a surprise topic this week.
Who suggested it? Do you know?
Yes, this was suggested by Brian Stone. This one's been on the list for a long time.
Oh boy.
And I was very excited when I looked apparently not terribly excited because it's been on the list for a long time.
Right.
But this morning I was looking at the list and I thought, you know what? This will be a cool one because I think we're going to have a lot of fun in defining what the question is and what the criteria are.
Okay.
Because it's so simple. It's so basic. Best tool.
Boy, when I looked at the list this morning, I was like, I bet you Mark's going to pick something like best tool.
Really?
I swear. I was like, there's no way we get that done in 45 minutes.
Let's see if we can do it.
All right.
Sure we can. But I think the most important thing is to define what we mean by a tool.
Okay. Like a person? Like adult?
Like, geez, that guy's a tool.
Yeah, what a tool?
No.
In that case, is it the guy from Nickelback?
Oh, man, why does everybody hate on Nickelback? Look at this photograph. Every time I do, it makes me laugh.
I'll stop, please. Why are you doing this to me? It's still early in the day.
Well, you know what? You're a rock star, Hal.
Oh, God.
Wasn't that one of their
That's
songs?
Smash Mouth. Same thing.
No. What was their one that there was Photograph? What was their other song? They had like a big hit, Nickelback.
Is Photograph their song?
Look at this photograph. Every time I do it makes me laugh.
That's a Nickelback song?
Yeah. What's the other big Nickelback song?
Yeah.
See, this is what happens when
What
we
is
do a
it?
research episode.
Please tell me.
Not that would have been on the thing.
If you don't have it at the top of your head, then maybe
fine.
they don't have a lot
Nickelback
of hits.
sucks.
Thank you. Asked and answered. I just want to give some thanks real quick.
No, by tool, I mean, are we talking specifically hand tools? Are we talking about tools of society? Because there are certain things like it's undeniable that the wheel, the printing press,
Right.
that these physical objects changed the world in such huge, huge ways.
Right. Those are inventions, though. I think you're taking a concrete question and making it abstract. I think they want to know, like,
Best hand tool.
yeah, when you go into like a work, if you went into Adam Savage's workshop,
Mm-hmm.
what is the best tool?
It's so vague.
I know, but you picked it.
I know. I'm very excited, but I wanted to spend longer figuring out what it meant.
We're on the clock, bub.
All right. So I think you can break down tools into a few. Do you want to narrow it down further? Not to power tools, to just actual hand tools?
Sure.
So we'll take power tools off of the list. That
Okay.
is the drill, the electrical saw, all of these.
Table saw, chop saw.
Yeah. Wonderful.
Nail
wonderful.
gun.
By the way, the saw, I feel like, is the thing that benefited most from plugging into a wall.
Oh, sure.
Something that takes 2 seconds when you plug it into a wall takes 45 minutes to do a significantly inferior job.
True.
Yeah.
Very true.
Hand saws suck.
I hate hand saws.
So it's not going to be the saw.
No.
Although,
what can are we here now? We're into criteria.
okay.
Is the criteria how hard it is to use, or is it what it can do? Because a saw can turn, a saw or an axe. An axe can turn a tree into a boat.
Right.
That's pretty useful.
Well, that's one thing I wanted to talk about was like what has done more for the history of the world.
Okay. Now we're talking.
Right?
Yes.
So I think that we can divide them into a couple of categories.
All right.
Specifically for, non-electric tools. I think there's the hammer is its own thing.
Yeah.
There is, grippy tools.
Okay.
And, blade tools.
All right.
And, or how about this?
What about a screwdriver? Where does that fit?
That's what popped into my head. See, this is what happens when we don't research these beforehand. All right. Fasteners and blades.
Fasteners, blades.
Right.
The hammer by itself.
Man, maybe this criteria thing isn't going to work.
No, I just want to be clear. Choppy cutty. We got choppy cutty. We got grippy.
Listeners, if you could see the smug look on Hal's face right now.
Got a hammer. They can hear it. And then fasteners.
All right. Forget the fasteners. I'm thinking like screwdrivers.
Yeah.
I would put screwdrivers and hammers and like hammer and nail and all of those.
Okay. Fasteners.
Yeah.
Fasteners. Okay. So can we throw out the Allen wrench?
I don't know. The Allen wrench is the great equalizer because it's the one that you get for free with furniture from IKEA.
Sometimes you get a really crappy wrench.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. Yeah. The Allen wrench isn't going to win, but let's talk. I really do want to look on a big scale for this.
Okay.
But we can divide the criteria up. Ease of use, portability, usefulness.
Yeah. Versatility.
Yeah. And impact on the world. Because a saw can turn a tree into a boat. It can also turn a forest into a village, into a town, into a city, into a megalopolis. You know what I mean?
But not without all the other tools.
But not without all of the other
Or
tools.
some of them, at least like a hammer.
Well, if you were going to go out into the woods, what would you want? Like if you could have one tool, what would it be?
Knife.
And that right there is the first thing that popped into my head, which I think it's going to be really hard to beat the knife and by extension, the sword, because we're talking about the history of the world and like,
right. But that's a weapon.
Blades have done. Yeah, that's true.
But let's talk about blades. So we've got the knife. You've got the hatchet.
Mm-hmm.
The hatchet would be another really useful. But do you have
hatchet like a hand axe?
Yeah. Do you have like a Leatherman, like a multi-tool?
I do. Yeah.
I do also.
I have a big toolbox here and I keep a small Leatherman in my car.
What are the two things you use the most often?
Pliers.
The pliers
and the
knife.
And the knife, yeah.
Those are the two. And it does a ton of things. Leatherman is great. It's a measuring tool.
Yeah.
You've got screwdrivers. You can, I guess, not really use it as a hammer, but sort of.
The hammer, I think, they call the hammer the king of tools, right? Hammers are beautiful. They haven't changed since Roman times.
Mm-hmm.
The claw hammer dates back to ancient Rome and has not changed.
Right.
Except that they made the heads, sturdier.
Yeah.
And so they wouldn't go flying off. But really, you can kind of use any heavy object as a hammer.
Yes.
Not for repeated use.
No, but you can use a rock.
You can pick up a brick and hammer a nail into a wall.
Yes.
Now, a more ergonomically designed hammer you can build a house with.
Did you see Mark Evan Jackson backstage we were at Sketchfest. It was after our improv show and Mark was opening a bottle. You each opened a bottle of wine.
Oh man, that was awesome.
In a different way. You found like a piece of metal bracing that had a screw in it, and you used that as a corkscrew.
I combined the two.
Oh, you combined the two.
Yeah.
Very MacGyver.
So I took a screw and I hand screwed it into the top of a wine bottle.
Which is very that's super MacGyver.
Mm-hmm. And then used a coat hanger to grip the screw head. I wrapped a coat hanger around the screw head and then yanked, and that pulled the cork out.
Smart. Super smart.
Mm-hmm.
Jackson takes his shoe, puts the bottle of wine in the shoe. So if the shoe was sitting on the ground, it looked like the wine was like your ankle.
Uh-huh.
And then bangs it against the wall and the cork comes out.
Yeah. It's pretty amazing.
Unreal.
Yeah.
The two of you. Sparks Nevada and Croach the Tracker.
That's right.
Expert wine bottle openers.
I would like it known for the record, though, that mine took about 10 seconds.
Oh, you opened yours first.
And he was slamming his shoe against the wall for about 10 minutes.
That's fair. But it's still kind of cool to watch it work.
Oh, yeah. To watch it.
Both of them.
To watch it pop out like that.
Yeah.
Great.
So I don't know why I brought that up. I guess it just reminded me of a hammer.
Yeah.
Like that was something else being used in a hammer-like way. Not that he's going to use that to fasten anything, but there's something enjoyable about I like using a hammer. That's probably the most fun for me to use. I like hanging pictures and stuff. It's really fun. I feel like I've done something I feel like I've done something skilled, oddly, more so than when I use a screwdriver.
Right. Because, yeah, if it
unless it ratchets. Anything that ratchets.
I love a ratcheting screwdriver.
Yeah.
I have a great ratcheting screwdriver.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think when you heard the best tool, when you think of tool, hammer for me is what instantly pops into my head.
Same for me.
The king of the tools.
Yes.
And there have been some beautiful ones throughout history. Ornate, Victorian hammers with fine engravings on them. And,
yes.
But at the end of the day, I feel like it does one thing perfectly, which is, blunt force. And it does it in great ways. There are lots of different uses for a hammer. They tap your knee with a hammer to, check your reflexes. That's technically a hammer.
Yes.
A gavel is a hammer.
Yes.
Like the law is determined via hammer.
You can test your strength with a hammer.
Yep. At the carnival.
Yep.
Hit that thing. Try to ring the bell.
Yep.
Yeah. Any sort of mallet.
You can use them to smash barrels in Donkey Kong.
Sure. Is that's
it's a big sledgehammer.
Yeah. Yeah. So, look, hammers are awesome, but it's just a blunt force thing, right? I hate using the word just. I don't want to diminish the awesomeness of the hammer.
Right. I mean, a claw hammer you can use to pry things open as well.
Sure.
I mean, it's primarily obviously for getting nails out.
Uh-huh.
It's probably a less it can be very destructive. You can take a hammer. I can take a hammer to your wall right now and put holes in it.
Please don't.
I
can take a hammer to your phone right now and put holes in it.
Jeez, please don't. But I can also take apart something here by prying nails out as opposed to smashing it.
Right.
And screwdriver would do that as well, obviously, but screwdriver only exists to open or close unless it's a flathead. Then you can sort of use it to pry things open.
Right. But a flathead screwdriver is not going to win because no tool that you can do the same thing with a dime is going to win.
Or a butter knife.
Yeah.
It's easily replaced.
Yeah. A flat blade. And that's the thing about a hammer. I feel like it's easily replaced.
Not a claw hammer. If
not
you
a claw
to take
hammer.
Something
That's
apart,
true.
You need a crowbar.
Yeah.
To do it.
But its status as, the first tool you think of, does that keep it in contention?
I think so.
And
a survival tool is different. If I'm building a set for Annie,
the thing is,
I don't need a knife.
We can't add caveats. It's just best tool.
True, but you were like, if you were going out into the wilderness, what tool would you want?
Right.
But now I'm saying, if you needed to build a set for Sweeney Todd, which tool do you want?
Let me ask you this. Why did Annie close and Sweeney Todd open? Because you were building the set for Annie just seconds ago, And now you're building the set for Sweeney Todd. Do your plays not run for very long?
They don't do well. It's a small theater.
No.
Hard to get people to turn out
No,
for
I get it. Also, were you playing Annie?
Yeah. I don't think that's the problem though.
Is
Really?
it? Maybe.
I don't know. You're going to love me as Cosette in Les Mis. That's opening, in like an hour.
Are you
I gotta
playing-
hurry.
Which Cosette are you playing? Are you playing young Castle on a Cloud Cosette or grown up, whatever she sings Cosette?
Yes.
Okay. Oh goodness.
Mm-hmm.
Oh dear.
It's really a triumph. You see me be the beginning of the play. It's not really a lot of the things you would normally say in Les Mis. It's me being born as
Okay.
Cosette. So the first thing you see is me as a crying baby
Okay.
covered in fluid.
Have you read Les Mis?
No. Then, I sing about like, it's the castle cloud as a kid. And then I'm an adult and I'm like, stop revolting, French. It's great. I think it's going to be a huge hit.
Who are you
Hold
playing
on.
in
Let me
Sweeney
just
Todd?
checking my text message. The knife.
Yeah.
Oh.
What's your text message say?
You know what? It just closed.
Oh
but
man.
good news is that makes room for my, Plaza Suite. And I'm opening. I'm playing all the characters in Plaza Suite.
Plus, that's the Noel Coward?
Neil Simon. Yeah.
Neil Simon.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that a Noel Coward? Yeah, it's Neil Simon.
Yeah, Neil Simon. Mm-hmm. Noel Coward is the Neil Simon of England.
We have gone so far off the rails.
Have we?
A little.
What if we need to get back on the rails? What tool would you use?
Well, you know what I would use is to get back on the rails, I would use a great big wrench. Let's talk about the wrench.
I love a good adjustable crescent wrench. It is my favorite tool.
An adjustable wrench is a wonderful thing.
Yeah.
Plumbing specifically, it's great for.
Yes.
Like the big monkey wrench, like those big,
yeah.
like
a pipe wrench.
yeah, like the
Pipe wrench fight.
Yeah, the clue weapon.
Yes, exactly.
Like that wrench.
Obviously, as we learned from Paul in Philadelphia, we have a lot of wrench fights. That's probably why
Yeah.
I'm so drawn to it.
Wrench fight.
Wrench fight. But the adjustable crescent wrench is pliers. You can use it on a variety of different size bolts. And it's also heavy enough that you could use it as it could be a hammer if you needed it to be. You shouldn't be using it for that. Don't mess up
if you
your
got
wrench.
a big hefty one.
And it's fun to use your thumb to
There's
make it
something
different sizes.
really nice about that little thumb wheel thing. It feels like such a simple little machine. Like this is an adjustable thing and this is the simplest little fix to make it happen.
Yeah.
It's very specified. We'll put that in that's in the fasteners category.
Sure.
We abandoned the whole category thing a while ago.
Yeah, but it is a fastener. If we had to,
I know that there are people listening to the show who actually know tools and science and things that are just shaking their heads at us right now.
well, you've been listening long enough. You should know the deal.
Yeah. You knew we were a snake when you picked us up, Tommy. So along the lines of ingenious little things like that wrench thumb screw thing.
Yeah.
I think there's something really, really cool about a Phillips head screwdriver.
Okay.
Like what a simple fix to a problem. My screwdriver keeps slipping out. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to make this little, cross-shaped thing.
I'll make an X. Yeah.
And it's going to make it so much easier if you're doing them by the dozens or hundreds or thousands, it's going to make each one happen so much quicker.
Here's my problem.
With the Phillips head?
Yes. And Phillips head screws also.
Okay.
You've got to use with a flathead, you have a little bit of margin of error to play with where you're like, this isn't quite the right size. It's a little bit smaller than I need, but it'll still work. If you have too small or too large of a screwdriver in a Phillips head screw, you'll strip it and then you can never get it out.
Yeah. Yeah, the stripped screw is about the worst thing. Then what do you reach for? You reach for the claw hammer.
Right.
And you yank that screw out of there and just make a way bigger hole than you would have made with a nail.
Right. But it was your fault for using one of those dumb Phillips head screws in the first place.
So the Phillips head is not going to win for you.
Yeah, it's just, you can only use it for one thing. It is the least versatile tool in the bunch. And it has to be exactly the right size. Same with an Allen wrench. You can only use for each screw, there's only one tool that can do the job.
Right.
As opposed to, hammer has a bunch of different functionality. Allen wrench is for one thing. A Phillips head screwdriver is for one thing. Even a Phillips head, at least you could pry something with it because it's flat and thin at one end.
You mean a regular flathead screwdriver?
Yeah, a flathead screwdriver. You could like remove a staple from a wall if you use a staple gun.
Right. Staple gun's a great tool.
It is.
I'm a big fan of my staple gun.
I feel like they misfire most frequently, and then you get that messed up. I almost cursed. I got so upset. Where like the middle of the staple's down and the other sides are up, and it gets messed up.
Well, you're trying to do it into like concrete, and
Yeah. And if I have a staple gun, I want it to be compressed air, and that's a power tool.
Right.
I don't like the one where
I love it. That's how I put up all of the padding in the studio.
Oh,
Just
okay.
staple gun. I am not getting my security deposit back on this apartment for all of the things I have done to it. I really hope Don doesn't listen to this show.
You improved it though. I was saying
Thanks, buddy.
off air how much, and I'll say it now on air, how much I enjoy your design aesthetic.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I like tinkering around the house.
That's very nice. And you make your bed
every day.
I know this guy wipes his rear end with coffee filters, but he's very clean. Just for all you boys and girls out there, he's a clean guy. He keeps a very clean and well appointed home.
And the coffee filter thing, Hal, is only in dire. You'd be proud of me. I actually, I still had 2 rolls left and I bought toilet paper.
Oh, wow. Look at you.
I didn't wait until all the paper towels were gone.
And yet you're trying to correct me for something? What was that?
I was saying I'm learning.
You are. You're learning and growing.
Yeah. Like we all should be doing at all times.
Exactly.
Right?
Yes.
Let's get back to tools. The multiple functions, I think is a big part of this. You mentioned that like the Phillips head does one thing, a wrench does one thing. And they do them quite well, and there's no other thing really that could do it. On the topic of multiple function things, I gotta say the thing I reach for the most at home, in fact, it's the only tool that is not in my toolbox. It just sits, I keep it just kind of sitting outside the toolbox because I reach for it so often, is needle nose pliers.
Okay.
That's a good one for me. Like that's up there with, I didn't think the knife was going to be beatable, but for me, the needle nose plier is pretty high up there.
Tell me some things you use it for.
I use it anytime my fingers can't reach into whatever I'm trying to reach and grasp. They're the perfect little grasping tool that can get into any teeny tiny little thing. They're like really strong tweezers.
What are you trying to get though? I'm just trying to like figure a specific, cause I get their usefulness for sure, but I can't think of times around the house where I have to like.
I had to replace a wall outlet the other day.
Okay.
And there was.
Oh, you're doing real stuff here. I'm like, I hung a picture from throwing adventure hour in my house.
But everybody has their different things that they like to do in different levels.
You just tell me I'm not good at building things. You don't have to pump me up. Just keep going.
All right. Come on, Hal, learn how to do some DIY.
Thank you.
I'm going to go to your apartment and break things.
Actually, could you come fix stuff?
Sure.
Great.
I got to break them first because yours is very well apportioned as well, and everything seems to work in there.
Yeah, that's true.
Don't worry. I'll go smash your TV with that hammer.
No.
But yeah, just any little, so that was one, that's just one example from the other day. And in doing that, there was like little pieces of debris and stuff that I couldn't reach with my fingers. I had to get back there. Electronics, working with electronics, those little tweezers or those little, needle nose pliers come in so handy. It's just a thing that I use them so often. I can't even, how often do you flip open because it's sort of when you flip open a Leatherman, the pliers inside, for those who don't know, a Leatherman is just a great multi-tool that, unlike a Swiss Army knife, it folds in half. And when you, open it up, it's, flip it inside out. It's pliers.
Yeah.
Which are sort of
butterflies.
Yeah. It's sort of a halfway point between needle nose pliers and regular round-headed pliers.
Right. True.
I'm not a huge fan of the pliers that have the little slide lock thing. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes. Yeah, where you're trying
I
to.
guarantee we are driving people crazy. Like, you got the little slidey thing.
Yeah.
But needle nose pliers, man, I use them constantly. Regular pliers also great, not nearly as useful as the needle nose to me.
Yeah.
What are we missing? I feel like we're missing the ads.
Yeah. If I need to add holes to leather, I need an awl.
Yeah. Ads is cool. I mean, you want to talk about the OG stuff like the saw. Why are we so averse to saws? You know why? Because I cut my hand on a saw once.
Oh, you did?
Yeah,
How
it's
badly?
the worst. Oh, it's awful. Like it just.
Where'd you cut it?
Right. It was the saw attachment or the saw blade on a Leatherman. I
Okay.
was flipping it closed and it just went, because a saw doesn't cut you once. A saw cuts you 1,000,000 times in a microsecond.
Yes.
Ugh.
That's terrible.
But it's great for cutting down trees. But yeah, like an ads. That's it looks like a hoe that it's for flattening wood.
Right.
And then a planer. A planer is another great hand tool.
Sure.
For the craftsman. But these are the things that along with the axe and the saw made it possible for the whole world we're sitting in a building right now because of those.
True.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Here's what I think we should do. I think
We're rambling. I'm rambling.
I think we're getting close. Let's take a quick break.
Okay.
Let's hear from some of the other shows on the Maximum Fun Network, and let's come back and we'll make a decision.
Okay.
Sound good?
Great.
All right. We'll be right back. Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Hal from We Got This, here to let you know that guess what? It is that time of year again, the most magical time of year at Maximum Fun. That is the Max Fun Drive. It is coming up. It kicks off on April 2nd, and it runs for only 2 weeks. We're going to be running our choicest episodes. We've got some really fun stuff lined up. I cannot wait for you to hear it. And we're going to be offering great gifts for new and upgrading members. Can't wait to tell you about that, but you're going to find out when it starts, April 2nd. That is the best time to support the show. So if you just came to us over the last few months and you're wondering what Max Fun Drive is, just you wait. Do not miss it. It is all starting on April 2nd. And we'll see you then.
Hey guys, this is Adam Conover. You may know me from my True TV show, Adam Ruins Everything. Well, guess what? Now we're doing a podcast version right here on Maximum Fun. What we do is we take all the interesting, fascinating experts that we talk to for just a couple minutes on the show, and we sit with them for an entire podcast, really going deep and getting into the fascinating details of their work. Find Adam Ruins Everything wherever you get your podcasts or at MaximumFun.org.
Okay.
All right.
I feel like in the break,
I just love tools so much. I just like talking about them all.
I do too. I love having a bunch of different tools. I like using them.
Mm-hmm.
I did some like scene shop work out of college when I was an apprentice at a theater.
The theater that did things. Annie and then Sweeney Todd.
It's my theater. We're very excited. We're going to be opening up Gypsy. That's going to be tonight. Very excited.
Please. Please don't tell me that you're playing Gypsy Rose.
You gotta have a gimmick. Gotta have a gimmick, Mark. I don't need to tell you any more than that. I think I know what the tool is for me that I would pick.
Is it one that we've already discussed?
Tangentially, yes. It has been mentioned. Do you know what you would pick?
I'm going to see if I can guess what you would pick.
Okay.
You want to say it on the count of 3?
Sure.
And then we'll still discuss it.
Yeah. All right, ready?
Oh, I'm so nervous now.
1, 2, 3. The axe.
Boom. I knew it.
You turn it around. You can use the flat end as the hammer. Our 16th president is called the rail splitter because he was chopping trees in half with an axe. Again, axe makes a tree into a boat. It makes a tree into a table. Like you can chop things down but it's also
it chops down firewood.
Yeah,
for the
create
most
firewood
things.
You can use it for self-defense if need be.
Yeah,
if you're Gimli from Lord of the Rings, you use it to help accompany the One Ring to be thrown into Mordor.
Right. And if you're on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., you can have a shotgun axe, which is still the coolest weapon on that show.
What, is that that show's still on the air?
That show is awesome.
Wow.
They were in space this whole season. That show's bananas. I love it. He's like, they go to space and still he manages to find his shotgun axe is in space.
Who has it?
It's, I can't remember the character's name. I've watched every episode of this. Mac, big guy.
Okay. The big bald dude?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I know who he is. He's been around since like season 2, right?
Yeah.
All right.
He's great. He started as, like the mechanic on the show. Like,
Yeah,
he's the mechanic that takes care of the airplane and all of their gear, but really he's the 6'10" giant jack dude with a shotgun axe. He's amazing.
I'm into it.
Yeah. You know what? It does feel like I'm thinking specifically of a hand axe,
I am too.
not like a hatchet,
Yes.
not like
Not a battle axe.
not like the great or like a big, well, I mean, you mentioned the rail splitter. I'm thinking of a smaller axe.
like a hand axe.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like one that would be a weapon in a horror movie.
Sure.
Nobody in a horror movie is going to be walking around with a giant, dragging Abe Lincoln's tree feller.
Or like Last of the Mohicans, like the little hatchet that he carries with him.
Yeah. Maybe a little bigger than that.
Okay. Sure.
Now we're determining the size of the thing.
It's not gigantic. It's like what Captain America is using in Age of Ultron, with Steve Rogers and Tony Stark are using to split logs.
right.
It's small, bigger than a hand axe, but it's not like a giant 2-headed axe. You could use it. You could chop down a tree with it. It would take you a little while, or you could split logs with it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's tough to beat. Because it does have the bludgeoning of a hammer. It's got the blade. It turns trees into canoes and houses.
Yeah. And to me, it's like an OG tool.
Yeah. The very first tools were just, we're going to put a rock on the end of a stick. We're going to lash a rock to the end of a stick. In fact, the super, super original tool was basically just an axe head. It was when, Homo,
Erectus?
no, but Homo,
Hominids?
Shoot. I can't remember the name of it. It was one of, it was, look, I watched a few documentaries this morning after I'd picked this topic and tried to find out a few things. That's how I knew so much about hammers.
All right.
But yeah, they were talking about this, basically they would just smack one rock against another. And these were like 3-foot tall predecessors to human from 2 million years ago. They'd smack a rock with another rock until they got a sharp blade, and they would, cut up an animal that they found.
Yeah. Yeah, it gives you food too. The hammer.
Interesting. The most basic tool ever is, I don't think, man, I really wanted needle nose pliers to be the one. But as soon as you said it, I knew it was going to be the axe.
It just, it's hard to, just historically, and an axe is an axe to this day.
Yeah.
I know that there are different grips and things, and probably different like carbon handles that don't break, and
some
ways
have
to
shotguns
fasten
attached.
it. Some have shotguns attached.
Right.
But in the general design of an axe is the same.
Mm-hmm.
It is a rounded, sharp edge attached to a handle, and you use it to chop things. Hassan Chop.
Sounds like this one is one for the books, Hal.
Do you agree?
I agree. Yeah.
Well, this is your topic. Why don't you take us home?
Ooh, I've never done one of these.
You have too.
Have I?
Yeah.
I don't, maybe one.
We've done a lot of these. At some point,
You do
have
this
to have
all
done
the
one.
time.
I do.
People of the world.
Doing great so far.
Thanks. Since the dawn of time.
Okay. Good. Strong open.
Thank you. One tool has been in the hands of not only man, but the precursors to man.
Humankind.
Humankind, sorry.
It's okay.
Be inclusive.
Yes.
This tool literally predates human beings.
I have suspense now. Maybe I forgot what it was. I'm going to learn.
Because I've been going for a long time.
Yeah, you're doing great.
Well, you're my coach.
Thank you.
It's the axe, people.
There it is. Dropped it.
Was that a good
You dropped the hammer, oddly enough.
Ooh, I dropped the hammer on the axe.
Yeah.
It's the axe, axed, and answered.
Thank you.
I made the decision to do that as I was saying it. And I apologize to everyone who is listening.
I don't. I think it was beautiful.
That topic is closed. Thank you to Brian Stone. Stone, the original thing that they used to make axes out of.
There you go.
So your question, Brian Stone, your name is part of the answer. This topic is covered, but there are many more topics to discuss. So please reach out to us on Twitter at WeGotThisTweets. Check out the Maximum Fun subreddit.
Send us an email at wegotThisPodcast@gmail.com or go to facebook.com/groups/WeGotThisPodcast. Thank you to producer Ken Plume, researcher Kate McManus, graphic designer Uri Kelman, and QA engineer Jen Alba.
Thank you, as always, to our musicians, Jonathan Dinerstein and Mike Furman, for our score and theme song, respectively. And thanks to you, our listeners. You are the tools in our toolbox that get us through our day. Thank you. Thank you for listening. We wouldn't be doing it without you. For Hal Lublin, I'm Mark Gagliardi.
For Mark Gagliardi, I'm Hal Lublin. And don't worry, everybody. We got this.
We got this.
MaximumFun.org.
Comedy and culture.
Artist owned.
Listener supported.